Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Darko, and as you can see, Bonnie the Anti-Chaser is sitting right behind me. And it's been a pretty shitty last couple of days, so haven't really got the time to work on the car like I wanted to. So I figured I'd just do a build breakdown. I'm just going to go over all the small things that I've done in terms of upgrades and small bits of maintenance to kind of keep this thing running like I want to. And after that, we're going to just talk about the next steps and a couple of little small things that I added to the setup just to kind of make things a little bit better, especially for POV drives. So let's take a look at the car and yeah, come with me. So I just wanted to start out with the outside of the car, and holy fucking shit, let me just say that the body kit on this thing is the reason why I clicked on this Facebook ad. That thing just makes the car pop as a whole. I've seen quite a few, at least now, Laurels with their stock body, and this body kit just does it justice. The stock body kit isn't anything to write home about, but how this looks as a whole just does it. I love how the front mount intercooler just sits out right in front, looking real aggressive, has all the airflow that it needs. I love the side intercooler piping just poking out from each side. I love just how this front bumper looks aggressive. This is the Origins body kit, the Stylish Edition, and it is stylish as hell. I love the flares on the bottom of each part of the kit, that side, that line from the front that falls all the way to the back. It just makes the car pop and does everything that I feel like it needs, and just kind of brings the attention to the car itself. The side skirts really add a little bit of extra because of the ground effects. It just makes it look even lower than it actually is, because it's not as low as you would think, but it is definitely making the car look low, look hot boy as shit. And it just works. Coming around to the back, following that line all the way around here, it just does it. It just fucking does it, and it keeps doing it. So as we get to the back here, we have the Be Free dual exit exhaust, and in these dual exit exhausts you have two silencers. I added the silencers because this thing is catless and it is loud as fuck. Like, holy shit, this thing is loud. I really don't I really don't like super loud cars, so I did have to muffle it a little bit, and it actually worked out a lot better than I expected. One thing to note is I do have solid silencers. They do have these adjustable silencers that you can get, but those are like a waste of money. Please don't get those. They'll be rattling within a week. I had them, they were rattling like shit for no reason. So yeah, don't embarrass yourself. Just get the solid ones and call it a day. Besides that, the only other thing I can say is underneath here, I don't know if you can see that diff, but in that diff is a Nismo two-way diff. It is definitely the reason why this thing handles like it does. It locks up around corners. Also, there's not a whole lot of rust under here. I tried to keep it clean. For the year that I've owned it, I really don't drive it in any weather besides like just the really nice stuff. Yeah, it is outside, but I do have a car cover just to kind of keep everything nice. So besides that body kit, the main thing that really pokes out for me are these wheels. For the car itself, I have a square setup, 18 by 9.5 front and rear. They are a plus 38 with a 38 millimeter spacer, and those spacers just kind of make the car give it the right fitment. I might poke the rear out just a little bit more, but the front is damn near perfect. So for the rear, as I've said before, we have the full ROFU setup. So ROFU calipers, ROFU brake pads, ROFU rotors, and ROFU braided brake lines. The brake lines are just an added plus just because it just adds that little bit of extra brake feel to the car itself and really makes the car come alive. Coming to the front, this is my fun part here. We have these white brake calipers that were upgraded. These are the Z32 brake calipers. They are not anything fancy or anything like that. They are just like some no-name brand calipers. They came just unpainted, and I painted this with high temperature paint. The high temperature paint was to avoid any weird issues with the paint chipping and all that fun stuff. I haven't had any issues with that, as well as like putting a layer of clear coat on there. The clear coat is just to kind of help it get cleaned. I can clean off the brake calipers a lot easier than I could with a straight paint job, and it just makes things a little bit easier for me as a whole. Same thing with the rest of this stuff. Rofu braided brake lines, Rofu rotors, Rofu brake pads, so nothing super crazy there, but it is just a really nice setup. So thank you Injuku for just getting me set up with that, because the car feels fantastic. Besides that, the last thing I really want to go over is the wings in the rear. We have the D-Max roof wing that looks fucking aggressive as hell, and this D-Max trunk wing also looking aggressive. I think the trunk wing with the roof ring and the body kit, it just adds to the lines of the Laurel itself and just makes the car pop. So everything that you can see here is all sitting on Blitz ZZR coilovers. The coilovers are freaking beautiful. I don't think I've ever had an issue with the coilovers itself. I do have to tighten the preload up on the front here just a little bit, just to kind of get it a little bit better in terms of handling. But for the most part, this thing feels great. But yeah, so let's hop into the inside of the car, or at least see what's under the bonnet of Bonnie and see what we got. So popping that bonnet for Bonnie, we have just your bog standard RB25 DET. Now this DET is the Series 2 with the Neo harness. I believe most of the newer C35s, they come with the RB25 DET Neo, but for I think the first two generations or first 2 years of the C35, they did have the RB25 DET Series 2 engines, and I think they were just like using some leftover stock, so you know, it's life. So the first thing you see is this intercooler piping. While it's not the cleanest or anything like that, that is probably the first thing that you see, and that is all hooked up to that HPI front mount intercooler. If you take a closer look here on the right hand side, it is sagging a little bit, just because the original owner, I believe they hit something, I'm not 100% sure, but it is just a little bit of sag, nothing super crazy. It doesn't really affect it too much, but you know, it's there. We're going to be switching out this intercooler anyway. This whole setup is going to be going, but I do want to give you the full rundown of the car and how it sits today. Coming into the car just a little bit, we have the single fan here for the AC condenser, and then inside here we have the Blitz racing radiator. Now this radiator is fantastic. I looked up the price on this thing and it's a lot more expensive than I expected. This along with the GK Tech fan, I'm not sure if you can see that, but it does have a GK Tech fan on here, just to kind of keep everything cool, and that is just a nice little addition to everything else. Connected to the radiator, these hoses came with the car, and it looks like there is a temperature sensor on here. Not entirely sure what they were doing with it. This temperature sensor had some lines ran into the cabin of the car, but this was not hooked up, so it didn't really do anything. I know I'm probably going to be needing this in the future, so I do want to keep this how it is. I might clean up the lines and all that kind of good stuff, or just make this look a lot prettier than it is, but I do want to keep that particular temperature sensor. Switch out the Blitz boost gauge for a temperature sensor, or just add another pod so I can have temperature and the boost gauge to make sure that I don't have any weird issues. But yeah, moving on into the engine itself, we have like some basic maintenance that was done. Under this Nismo oil cap, I did do change the oil quite a few times since I've had it. The oil for the RB25 DET is notorious for staying in the top of the engine. So there's a couple of different fixes that you can do to address that issue. But if anybody knows the RB25s, you know there's oiling issues, just kind of getting oil from the top of the engine to the bottom. You know, it happens. That's life. Every engine has its downsides. You can always work around it, and that's what we're going to be doing later on. But for right now, it is what it is. Speaking of regular maintenance, like I said, I did change the oil quite a bit. And the main thing that I did, the first things that I did for the car was change out these spark plugs, change out the coil packs, change out this coil pack harness. This harness itself, the original one was old and brittle, broken up, definitely not fun. So I got one from Wiring Specialties. They are fantastic. I definitely recommend them for any wiring setup that you need. I do have a Wiring Specialties hookup for one of the ECUs I'm going to be switching out for my stock one. But yeah, definitely something fun to take a look at. Definitely something that everybody should kind of be looking into in terms of just making sure their car is running good. Besides doing the spark plugs and the coil packs and all that fun stuff, I did end up doing the fuel injectors. Now these fuel injectors, the original ones, I'll probably show a picture here somewhere.
Holy crap, look at that.
Not even half of 40. What did I didn't even drink that. I did drink a couple shots earlier.
Bro, these injectors are busted. Look at this one. This one's completely fucked.
They looked bunk as shit. They were destroyed, looking terrible. I'm not even sure if they were working properly. It just wasn't the funnest thing ever. So I went ahead and changed those out just to kind of make sure I never had any more issues. And since then, it's just been running great since. In terms of additional maintenance, like I said, the RB25 does have some oiling issues, and you see these hoses 1 and 2. These hoses are for the PCV valves and all that fun stuff. This is to vent out all of the additional oil that gets stuck in the top of the engine itself, especially when you're going a little bit faster than normal, pushing a little bit more boost than normal, which I am. And yeah, this kind of pushes the oil into the intake, which is not the most fun stuff, because if you go to take out the hoses, you'll get a lot of residue from the oil kind of getting in there and just gunking it up. It's not the most fun, but that's how it was set up. That's how I'm running it right now. We're going to be changing that here in the future, but as of right now, it is what we're working with. So if we move down from these hoses, we have these new hoses. They were not new, but these aftermarket hoses. I didn't actually install these, but I did put on these clamps just to make sure they stayed in place. These hoses go down to this oil catch can. This is a baffled oil catch can. I did have a Gretty oil catch can that was in here, but it wasn't baffled and it didn't have a place to add a filter and kind of vent to atmosphere and all that kind of good stuff. So I ended up grabbing this off of Amazon. It hasn't failed me since. It does have a little valve at the bottom so I can drain it. The other Gretty oil catch can did not even have a valve, so like you had to like take the whole thing off to get any of the oil out of it, if there was any oil, because it was basically just a pass-through at that point. So next to this oil catch can, we do have the fun part of the car. This is the Gretty Profect boost controller. I've seen these particular boost controllers on damn near everything, at least overseas. It just does the job. It does everything that you'd want. It does all the little fun stuff to add extra power to the car without having to go overboard and getting a new ECU and all that fun stuff. I definitely recommend a new ECU, but just to add a little bit of extra power to the car, this should be a great choice for pretty much anybody. So right under this boost controller, we have the fuel filter, and I did change out that fuel filter. The main reason for changing that out is because this car is from Japan, and I'm not 100% sure how the gas is, what additional additives they do or don't have in that gas. So to make sure I didn't contaminate the engine anymore or do any weird harm to the new injectors and things like that, I wanted to just go with a fresh fuel filter. I think this one's from K&N. hooked up right where the old one was. It's a little bit smaller, but does the job exactly how I need it. Besides that, like I said, just basic maintenance for the car. I changed out the throttle position sensor for the RB25. I think RBs in general have issues with the throttle position sensor. Excuse me. But yeah, throttle position sensor is always like a little bit of a weak point. So I went ahead and changed that out to make sure I didn't have any idling issues, because I did have a few before. Yeah, changed it out, got it set up and dialed in to where I needed it, and didn't have an issue since. Besides that, there is a little bit of a fun little heat warmer, a sock from Project Moo. Project Moo, I'm not 100% sure how to say it, but brake pads that everybody likes and all that fun stuff. So this particular warmer was for the old brake caliper setup. They did have the Project Moo brake pads on that old brake caliper setup, but for the ones that I have now, it's just the Rofu stuff. So it doesn't necessarily match, but I do like it. It's going to stay on the car for as long as I can keep it. It is a little dirty because I've kind of worked on this car quite a bit, but yeah, it just works. It's cute. So coming over to the right hand side of the car, we have this fun little piece here. This is the Blitz Sus Power. The Blitz Sus Power air filter. This thing is gorgeous as hell, at least in my opinion. The filter itself is a little dirty, but it's a gorgeous freaking add-on. I don't really see a whole lot of people running this particular filter, especially in America. It doesn't seem like it's the most common thing ever, but I would like to use this for the end build for this car. Like I said, I think it looks fantastic, and hopefully this will work for everything that I want to do later on. Under this air filter, we do have the Greddy windshield wiper reservoir. That thing is empty as shit right now because I don't have the right grommets and I don't have a cap. So if anybody has a cap for that thing, please let me know. I'll buy it from you, whatever you need. But because this particular, we got a lot of cars here, but because this particular piece is very niche, I can't really source a new one very easily. I'll have to like buy a whole new one for way more than it's actually worth, but it is discontinued, so I guess, you get what you pay for. So following this particular air filter down, I do have a new inlet tube, and that is for the new turbo that I have set up. And don't hate on me, guys, but I ended up going with a Max Speeding Rods turbo. This is just a basic replacement RB25 DET, RB20 DET replacement turbo from, I guess, Max Speeding Rods. It's rated for 500 brake horsepower, so I do have quite a bit of room to grow with this. Along with the turbo itself, I did replace the lines with braided lines because I am going to be top mounting this turbo and any other turbo that I upgrade to. But for now, since we're not doing anything too crazy, this setup works fine. As you can see, we do have this one piece here that's blocked off. That is for the stock wastegate. I do have an external wastegate on the Max Speeding Rods turbo, so nothing to really worry about there. And yeah, besides that is just the rest of the oil vent going into the inlet of the turbo itself. Like I said, it's not the most fun, definitely not the cleanest, and is going to be cleaned up here soon. So that is pretty much it for the engine. The only thing I'd say is, just make sure you have the right battery for everything. The battery that I ended up grabbing was which is dirty, but it is the Toyota Prius battery. I can't remember the years, but I'll put the years in here somewhere. But the Toyota Prius battery itself is going to work right off the shelf. It is available at most auto parts stores and just does everything that you will need. So don't hesitate. Don't look on the Japanese websites. Don't try to import one because it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. Just go ahead and go to your nearest auto parts store or call them first. Make sure you get that part number. Let me see if I can get it for you guys. Can you focus? Can you focus? I can't focus. It's not focusing. Oh well, yeah. So I'll put that part number on the screen here for you guys. But yeah, make sure you check for that particular part number. That is going to be the battery that you need for all JDM vehicles, at least as far as I know. That is going to be for all JDM vehicles. I'm not 100% sure if anything else works, but this is the one I know for sure works. I know it's not the cheapest battery ever, but it does the job. It gets you everything that you need, has that 3-year warranty and all that fun stuff. So if there's anything that happens to it, just go to Optima, get a new one, good to go. And keep your receipt. But yeah, other than that, that is about it for the car. Like I said, this is just the V1 of the whole car itself. We're going to be making tons of changes to the engine itself. We're going to be cleaning this up, making it pretty as hell, and just kind of getting to the next stages. Alrighty, so that about concludes everything for the exterior of the car. Let's take a hop inside and see what we have in store. Coming into the interior of the car, we do have that Bride Eurostar 2 seat that we talked about in the last video. It is reclinable and semi-big boy friendly. We have that Momo steering wheel with the Princess Peach medallion. And we're going to pop this Momo steering wheel off of the Energy quick release and that HKB hub so we can get to the part that I think every Nissan Laurel should have, and that is the R34 GTT 5-speed transmission swap. Now, this swap isn't stock. It has the GK Tech short shifter, which just makes the throws a little bit shorter and a lot smoother. Next to that, we have that e-brake quick release, and that just makes drifting a whole lot easier, a whole lot more affordable, and there's no need for a hydro. Into the cockpit here, we have that Blitz boost gauge and that Greddy Profect 2 boost controller. That is about it for the interior. We also have this little bad boy. This is a new little camera mount so we can get some POV drives in, and it's just going to make the whole content that I'm creating a lot more fun. So that was a full build breakdown of Bonnie the Anti-Chaser. Thank you guys so much for watching. We have a ton of content in store for you guys, so please stay tuned. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe bell because we're going to be coming out with content every Friday. So hit that little notification bell and all that fun stuff. Make sure you know when we're posting, and you'll see this little girly coming up next. We're going to be getting our hands dirty with both of these cars, making sure we can get them to where I want them, and hopefully you'll enjoy. So, like I said, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. What they want, I don't know.